Here, feel. On a windswept isle in the southwestern corner of the realm, amidst the roiling waves of the Lotai Sea, lies the maritime city-state of Limsa. To this haven for bandits and brigands, cutthroats and curs, seekers of both freedom and fortune, comes a lone adventurer. Lone yet not alone, for the hero's arrival has drawn the gaze of the nation's patron deity, Lim Lane. What realm-shaking fate has she descried in the churning waters of this mortal's future? Discovery and triumph, may the navigator guide this brave soul on her life's voyage, till sea swallows all.
Who the fuck's gonna do that? Into the game again with all of the upgrades and equipment obtained from previous. Who the fuck's ever gonna play this piece of shitty game? You fucking retard. The audacity of them to even add that at the end of the game. The absolute audacity. Wow, insane. Yeah, it's really done. It's really done. That's really it. That's it. It's done. What a steaming hot piece of shit. Okay, first things first. Let me say this. Okay, I understand Ellie not actually killing her at the end because she was in such a shitty spot and it's like so like not satisfying. But why would the devs even do that? Why would the devs even put Abby in that position so Ellie couldn't even get her like moment or ever? She gets no moment during the game ever. Nobody gets a moment except for Abby. Like, so I don't understand why the devs themselves would even put Abby in the position, not give Ellie that. Like, that would satisfy everybody. It'd be insane. Why not just do that? Like, why make it so that that it's not even satisfying? She actually loses the trade. She loses her fingers, and Abby loses nothing in that trade. That makes no sense. If anything, she could have fought Abby, and then I don't know what the fucking other kid's gonna do. He'd probably come for revenge on fucking Ellie, right? What he would do? Honestly, just fucking kill them both, but whatever. So that's just the ending. I understand why with what they shipped out, why Ellie doesn't kill Abby. I understand that, but I don't understand why Abby was put like that in the first place. A couple of deaths. Are you fucking stupid? Secondly, this entire game was such a waste of fucking time. And don't you ever dare in your life even think about making a third one. This shit was so sad. It was so pathetic to play. There was no progress made on anywhere. No progress. You're sitting there running back and forth. They're already dead. By the time you get there, they're already dead. Okay, nice. So, finally, in an impactful trade, this is retarded, but even when Ellie and Big Bitch fight, and she kills Tommy, not even Tommy dies. So, it's like, that didn't even stay. Should Tommy have died? No, not, of course not. Of course not. You shouldn't have had to play as fucking Abby anyway. Why? Oh my god. Why did we play as Abby for so long? Why was I forced to beat the shit out of Abby? Or beat the shit out of Ellie as Abby? What the fuck? And then why did I get that in return? Like, what the fuck? And somebody else mentioned it earlier, way better. This whole game, this whole game is a fucking message, dude. It's retarded. Kill off all the male characters to keep the female. Somebody's gotta say it at this point. To keep all the fucking female characters. The sex scenes were, I don't give a fuck about, I said it. I don't give a fuck about sex or kissing or all this shit. But it's out of place and it's just out of place. It doesn't make any, you just add it to add it. That's what you did. It was really cringy. I don't give a fuck who has sex. Like, girl, guy, girl, I don't care. Like, guy. Your hand and you, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Dude, that was so lazy. And then you're forced to like do all these. Now that's time to talk about the fucking gameplay, right? I don't know about the gameplay. The gameplay. So let's just add that from story. Let's just call it that for story. Pathetic story. 0 out of 10 doesn't make any fucking sense. The playthrough of the story was fucking retarded. You should feel ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed, Dad. Ashamed. That we waited so long for this piece of shit. You should feel ashamed. Secondly, let's talk about gameplay for a minute. Whatever, it was the same old standard bullshit gameplay. This shit was trash. Controller's garbage. Terrible. Clunky. Fucking garbage. Dog shit. Glitchy. People... There was actually so many goddamn glitches in the game, but people don't even fucking realize it because they're too busy bitching about the story. Seriously! How many times did I bug and I'm climbing up a ladder and it's not even fucking there? Right? I'm bashing a skull in the wall and it's just air. Then randomly the guy dies. It's a fucking... It's like an early access game. We waited 7 years for. It was like EA, man. Nobody even noticed that shit though because of the story. You understand? Not impressed. Not impressed. I don't like how stupid the characters were. There was no... you would develop characters, and then at the very end, they do something completely opposite. Like, what the fuck? When, for instance, the map incident, where Abby somehow found the map. You're telling me Tommy... Okay, I understand Ellie might forget the map on the ground. I mean, because it's her first time killing a pregnant person, right? So Ellie might, she would never forget. But let's just give you the benefit of the doubt and say that she forgot. Let's just say that Ellie forgot her map. Tommy is not a dumbass. Not on a million years would Tommy ever forget that, and it's right by her feet. They're not stupid. They're not stupid enough to get followed like that. Like. And it's the same way earlier in the game when Joel and Tommy, again, were apparently the biggest fucking idiots in the game and followed random people, 10 or fucking 2 random people into a fucking trap and Joel died. Bullshit. Joel's damn near 60 years old. He survived for 40 fucking years. 40 years of the apocalypse being that dumb? Oh, get the fuck out. Oh, get the fuck out of here. Are you really? So you're gonna throw all that away and have Joel be a fucking retard? No way. Absolutely not. And then Tommy, his brother, was an equal? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. It's so lazy. That's so pathetic. It's absolutely lazy. It's a scapegoat to give Abby a way to find him. Or to start a really cringe storyline with all female leads. Came out of nowhere. I don't think Abby was in the trailer. She was the main character. Holy shit, man. It's just insane, man. Just don't bother. I swear don't bother. I'll put the company under if you dare develop LO3. I promise you, I'll ruin you. I will ruin you. You hear me? Mark my words. Don't you bother. Fucking give me rights to the game, I'll make it my fucking self. Terrible. Now, those with character development, gameplay, storytelling, what do we give this game? This would be the all-time... A second game in this series, from how good the first one was, to this game right here, this might be the worst, actually, no bullshit, this might be one of the worst games I've ever played. I'm not even kidding. From everything around, I swear it. I actually swear it. This might be one of the worst variety games I've ever played in my 4 years of being a streamer. And if it was a standalone game, and the first game wasn't, like, if I didn't play the first game, and then I played this game, maybe I'd rate it higher, but playing the first one and setting it up to this one was such a fucking letdown, it's disgusting. And you honestly don't even have the fucking graphics factor because it's played on fucking shitty ass console, shitty 60 FPS, fucking shitty loading screens. Oh my god! After you would die a certain amount of time, it would bug, and the tip screen after your death would still be in the middle of the screen. What the 7 years? 7 years. Oh, it's 30 FPS. Oh my god. 7 years. This is one of the worst variety games I've ever played in my life. No shit. I'm not even kidding. No bullshit. All things considered, I'm not fucking kidding. I'll give it a fucking 1 out of 10. I'll give it a 1 out of 10 for the simple fact that it ran. Somehow. That I was able to fucking download it somehow and press play. I'll give you guys that. What a piece of shit it was. Pathetic. Disgusting. Get this shit off my screen. So sad. So cringy. So sad.
What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today we are talking about this nonsensical article from Paul Tassi over on Forbes, because Paul doesn't seem to understand what's the problem with The Last of Us Part 2. Paul, someone that covers video games and pop culture for Forbes, has never mentioned the blatant copyright abuse from Naughty Dog, from Musso TNT Limited on behalf of Sony and Naughty Dog. Not once has Forbes or any other mainstream publication covered these stories. And he is confused. Paul is confused. What is going on? Why does everyone criticize Naughty Dog? Probably has something to do with the fact that you don't pay attention to anything going on outside of your little bubble, Paul. Maybe that has something to do with it. But let's look at this nonsensical article from Paul Tassi. The Last of Us Part 2. What's the problem here exactly? Well, like many people, I can't talk the whole video like that. Well, like many people, I spent most of yesterday diving into The Last of Us Part 2, a sequel to one of my favorite games of all time, and an experience I've been waiting years for. I don't have a problem with any of that. I totally understand your perspective. Big fan of the first Last of Us, as many others, millions of others are huge fans of the first Last of Us game. That's exactly the point, Paul. Let's continue. He then says, between plot leaks, ripped cutscenes, and controversy around certain characters, I knew a war was brewing, and one has indeed arrived. Interestingly enough, Paul continues to ignore the blatant copyright abuse from Sony, Naughty Dog, and Musso. While The Last of Us Part 2 has a Best Games of Generation level critic score of 95 on Metacritic, it is getting absurdly obviously bombed in the user score department, where it sits at 3.4 out of 10 with 24,000 reviews. For context, the entire lifespan of The Last of Us 1 generated over 9,000 user reviews. It's been 36 hours for The Last of Us Part 2. So what the hell is going on? Why are some people so mad about the game? And there you see the clips from Metacritic. After playing for around 12 hours or so, I can only comment on what appears to be the first half if the 20 to 30 hour reports of total playtime are true. And yet, I remain confused, and simultaneously not very confused. As a fan of the original, I am very much liking this one as well. Everything I've loved about the first game is present here. There are some of the most beautiful and most detailed environments I have ever seen in the video game. The performance capture and the writing is excellent, and the story swings between brutal lows and genuinely sweet highs. If there's anything to complain about, many of the issues I have with the first game are still present here. I think the clickers infected are poorly realized, so he's just going to blah 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 blah. So he's just basically saying, like, in space, I'm enjoying it, so what's the problem? So what's up? I have to go into spoiler territory here a bit, because it's more or less impossible to talk about the game without mentioning what is effectively the entire driving force behind the plot. So turn back now, the death. The death. Okay, so he's bringing up Joel's death. Okay, that is definitely one of the reasons for the outrage. That's one of the reasons, one of the many reasons of the outrage. But not the death in isolation, not the fact that Joel died. That is not the problem here, Paul. That is not the problem, okay? He says, it is, of course, a shocking moment. It is also not terribly surprising if you ask me. No one is surprised that Joel died, Paul. No one is surprised that Joel died. Yes, I heard the leaks, but well before that ever happened, the first trailer showed that Ellie was on a warpath, out to get revenge. Interestingly enough, out to get revenge. From that first moment, it seemed pretty clear to me, it was likely that some group had killed Joel. Yeah, again, that's not the problem. Okay? I simply disagree with the notion that killing character you like is automatically bad for the story decision. Not the problem, Paul. Not the problem at all. So he is still not understanding what's going on here. Number 2, the agenda. Let me give you a helpful hint. If your negative review of The Last of Us 2, based on anywhere from 0 to 30 hours of playtime, includes the word agenda, feminism, SJW, woke, pandering, or political correctness, you have lost this argument. Well, thank you, Paul. Thank you for telling other people that everything they say is irrelevant because you have your head in the sand. You live in a protected bubble because you are the access media, and you are here to tell us that no, your argument is wrong, you are wrong, and everything you believe is wrong. So, I mean, that kind of gives you the gist of it. He never mentions any of the copyright abuse. Now, is the copyright abuse the only problem with the game? Absolutely not, but it is a very powerful driving force behind why so many people are very, very angry with Naughty Dog and Sony over this game. It's a huge problem when people across YouTube, people across Twitter, people across Reddit were being banned for opinions and memes. Opinions and memes. Imagine having your channel struck over opinions. I don't have to imagine it because it happened to me. Giving an opinion that Naughty Dog didn't like, therefore my channel got a strike. Imagine having your Twitter account suspended over memes. I don't have to imagine it because it happened to me. Because apparently a Scott Steiner Last of Us Part 2 meme is copyright claimed by Musso, meaning I broke the copyright laws, even though that is absolutely incorrect. But when you have a company like Naughty Dog using a shitty company like Musso to false flag people, that is pushing a lot of the anger. And it didn't just happen to me. It didn't just happen to bigger channels. It didn't just happen to medium channels. It didn't happen to smaller channels. It happened to all types of channels. They even DMCA'd their own account. That's how out of control this thing was. Did Paul Tassi talk about it? No. There was another blue check mark on Forbes that I got into an argument with on Twitter about this too. I can't remember his name. But he's someone that covers gaming news for Forbes, yet he never mentioned any of the copyright abuse. And then here's Paul Tassi, very confused. Now again, I've complained a lot about the copyright abuse, and it is a huge problem. But then let's get into the situation with Joel. The fact that Joel died is not the problem. That is not the issue. The issue is how it all happened, how Joel was not even consistent with himself, how early it happened for the reasons it happened, and how it wasn't even paid off. None of it even mattered. His death wasn't even paid off. It was not meant for story reasons. That is the problem. Killing a popular character off is not an issue. But when you don't respect that character based on how that character, how his development got us to that point.
Yeah, it does fucking suck. I was thinking about it, I'm like, did they not understand what made the first game good at all? Or are they just being spiteful? Are they creatively lacking? What is... I don't want to be too like, oh, the game sucks, even though it does suck. Yeah, it does fucking suck. I was thinking about it, I'm like, did they not understand what made the first game good at all? Or are they just being spiteful? Are they creatively lacking? What is... What is?
This is your final spoiler warning. If you do not want The Last of Us Part 2 spoiled for you, then click off this video now. Okay, let's get right into it. What Naughty Dog has done to Joel in this game is downright disrespectful to his character and what they built over the first game. I love the first game, and even before all the leaks were coming out, I did not want a sequel. The Last of Us ends on a perfect note by providing closure and generating discussion. Let me set the stage for Joel's mistreatment. When we first meet Abby, we do not have any context on why she is getting close to Tommy's settlement, other than that she is looking for someone. She is trying to hunt someone down. Abby breaks off from her group and she tries to go find one of the settlement's patrols to get a lead on that person she is trying to find. As she is doing this, she is attacked by the infected. It gets to the point where she feels like she is in over her head as the infected are ruthless within this area. Abby makes several escapes and then one of the infected is about to kill her, but before that can happen, Joel appears and saves her life. Joel and Tommy work with Abby to try and defeat the infected and make it out alive. Our group is looking for a safe place to get away from the infected, and Abby suggests her lodge where her group is holding up. The three of them make it out together and get to the lodge. Once they get there, Joel and Tommy find themselves in an ambush, and before they can react, Abby shoots Joel in the leg. She then proceeds to beat him with a golf club. Ellie tries to save Joel, but she is restrained and must watch Abby kill Joel. This all happens within the first 2 hours of the game, and it simply sucks. I could see a situation that could have worked by having Joel die, but the execution of it here reeks of bad and inconsistent writing for our characters. I could understand Joel and Tommy taking safety at the lodge, but they were acting really dumb considering the world that they had been living in. Joel isn't showing any signs of caution with these people he does not know, and Tommy is being even dumber by suggesting that Abby's group go to his settlement to restock. Like I said, both Joel and Tommy do not know these people, so don't you want to vent these strangers before letting them into your protected settlement? Joel is a seasoned veteran of this world. He did terrible things to help him and Tommy survive, and he continued that path with Tess. In the first game, we see this when Joel is able to identify an ambush just by looking at the situation. Joel and Tommy are smart characters, so why are they suddenly really dumb in part 2? Joel would be grateful for the shelter, but he wouldn't put him and Tommy into a situation where they are essentially surrounded by walking them right into an ambush. Both of these characters would be cautious about trusting these people, but the writers need Joel to be ambushed so that Abby can kill him and be the plot device that ignites the game's story. I am going to be saying this a lot, but the writing feels contrived and forced. The Last of Us Part 1 established Joel as a smart character, shaped by the brutal world that he lived in. He wouldn't suddenly become dumb in the sequel unless the writers couldn't come up with a creative way to put him in that position. Now, I could buy Joel walking into this ambush if instead of Joel saving Abby, that Abby then saved Joel. Then Joel would feel grateful for Abby's assistance, and then when they get to the lodge, he may have his guard down because he now trusts her because she saved his life. I could have believed him being ambushed in that situation, but sadly that is not what we got. On top of this, Abby is another character that falls victim to being dumb. Abby only kills Joel, but she leaves both Tommy and Ellie alive. Does she not think that Ellie and Tommy will try to seek revenge? Tommy even tells Abby's group that Joel is his brother, and based on how Ellie calls out for Joel, Abby knows that Ellie cares for him. But if Abby killed them, then we wouldn't have any story. Again, this is so contrived. The first game handled a situation like this at the end with Joel rescuing Ellie from the hospital and shooting Marlene. Marlene begs for her life, but Joel kills her, saying that if Marlene survives her wound, she would just come after them. Joel's decision in the first game makes sense, but Abby's doesn't. If you need to make your characters do things that are out of character for them, then your audience will not buy those decisions and reject the bad writing. Now, before I get the comments saying that Joel dying just fits the brutal realism of the world, I want to direct you back to the first game. In the first Last of Us, while fighting a hunter, Joel is knocked down and lands really hard on some rebar. He is severely injured, and if the game wanted to go hardcore in the realistic route, then this would have been the place to kill him off. But Naughty Dog made a better decision by having Joel survive, which resulted in creating a great dilemma at the end of the game where Joel needs to decide if he should let Ellie die for a cure or if he should selfishly save her life. And then when he saves her, does he decide to tell her the truth or lie to her? The entire ending is a great dilemma and creates some very captivating drama. So for the first game, Naughty Dog opted to go for that interesting dilemma and drama rather than having Joel die. I think they missed a great opportunity to do the same thing in Part 2. The Last of Us Part 2 asks the players to witness one of their favorite characters die early on, and then they are forced to continue to play as the killer. The story tries to present other sides to Abby so that we can understand her. The problem is that they did this in the wrong order. Before Abby kills Joel, we do not have any development with her, whereas we have a full prior game with Joel and we are going into the second game loving him. Once Abby kills Joel, she is now irredeemable, which means that every effort that the story makes to understand and empathize with her after this point doesn't work. It is a huge ask for the audience and it isn't the right move. While I'm not a video game writer, I do want to present an alternative to what we got in The Last of Us Part 2. I think both Joel and Ellie's story should be going on at the same time as Abby's. This way we can see both develop at the same time. With Joel and Ellie, we can see them dealing with the aftermath of the first game and maybe having Ellie learn to forgive Joel for lying to her. At the same time, we could cut to sections with Abby and develop her character prior to her story intersecting with Joel's. This way the story has done the work up front to develop Abby and make her more integrated into the narrative rather than shoehorned in like she does feel in this game. This would be a good opportunity for us to understand Abby's perspective and why she wants to get revenge. Playing as Abby might still be a bit unsettling since she wants to actively hurt another character that we love, but we would potentially understand her better. Then we could have a pivotal midpoint which kind of plays out similar to the main game where Abby is hunting down Joel, but then she is almost killed by the infected and Joel saves her life. At this point, Abby starts feeling conflicted about wanting to kill Joel. She understands that he murdered her father, but he also saved her life, and maybe she questions if he truly is evil. Then we could take a nice chunk of the story having Abby be conflicted towards Joel and not knowing what to do. At the same time, she could gain a relationship with Joel and Ellie. Then we could have an instance where Joel's in a situation where he could die, but Abby is the only one who can save him. You could show her inner conflict at an emotional high as she tries to figure out what action she wants to take. Abby can delay to save Joel and then decide to save him. The game's theme or message could be about forgiveness, and this would be in line at least with the theme of hope from the first game. The Last of Us was very bleak, but the first game had this constant line of hope that was well represented through Joel and Ellie's relationship. I think a sequel with the message of forgiveness would fit right in with what they did in the first game. But as it stands, we have Abby who doesn't really acknowledge that Joel saves her life, and then when she gets the opportunity to take her revenge, she just takes it, which makes Abby appear like a robot and irredeemable through her initial actions. While I stated that Joel's death feels contrived and forced by making him dumb to get into that situation, his death is mostly served to have early shock value to the player, along with being a plot device for the narrative. It feels like they took all the development of his multi-layered character from the first game and flushed it down the toilet. So Joel survived all those prior encounters with death to only get ambushed like he did and then die disrespectfully. The handling of Joel in Part 2 feels like it was written by another writer who does not understand the characters from the first game. But the ironic thing is that Neil Druckmann also wrote the first game. I think the nosedive in quality of the writing contributes to that Neil is in a different position than he was with his prior efforts. With The Last of Us Part 1, Neil began working on this story while he was in college in 2004. He attempted to get his story made into a game and then a comic book, but both efforts failed. He later found himself working at Naughty Dog on the Uncharted games. He became friends with the game director Bruce Straley, and the two of them began collaborating on what would be known as The Last of Us. Neil obviously had something special with The Last of Us, but he also had a great team at Naughty Dog along with Bruce to collaborate with. We even saw a similar situation when Neil was working on Uncharted 4. Amy Hennig had an outline of her story done, but when she left Naughty Dog, Neil and Bruce used that outline for their version of Uncharted 4. After Uncharted 4, we saw the departure of many Naughty Dog employees, including Bruce. During The Last of Us Part 2, Neil was in a different position. He doesn't have his same collaborators or plot outline to work off of, and it shows. He still has talent, and that is probably the most frustrating aspect of Part 2's story. The Joel and Ellie flashback sequences mostly work really well. In many cases, they feel like the same quality of the original Last of Us. Honestly, I would have loved an entire game centered around those events. The flashbacks show more bonding between Joel and Ellie, along with dealing with the aftermath of the original's ending. But with the game we got, the flashbacks feel like Naughty Dog is teasing something to the player that we can never have. I have many problems with The Last of Us Part 2's story. Treatment of Joel is really what kills it for me. I am not mad about him dying, I'm pissed about how they executed it. In order to get the plot moving, Abby needs to kill Joel, and instead of finding a creative way to kill off the prior game's protagonist, they find a contrived and forced method to get Joel into a situation where he dies. By doing this, they turn a beloved character who had many layers into a stupid person who cannot see an ambush he is walking into. Joel from the first game would not have been in that situation if they wrote him consistently in Part 2. While there were some good bits with the Joel and Ellie flashbacks, those sequences really just present a better sequel that we will never have. The first game had two great characters that had a compelling relationship. It was thrilling to see them escape death, and the lighter moments provided great humor and warmth. The first game had strong messages of hope, grief, acceptance, and finding something to live for. The bond between Joel and Ellie is what many people connected to, especially with the character of Joel. For me, The Last of Us Part 2 will be remembered as a bad piece of high-production fan fiction. For me, Joel and Ellie's story concludes at the end of the first game, and I like to think that Joel eventually told Ellie the truth, and she learned to forgive him. Thank you very much for watching.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another industry report. So, The Last of Us Part 2 is finally out, and with that happening, much more is actually known about the content of the game, and more general audience reviews are starting to come in. Now, of course, sorting out which are real reviews versus kinda for the memes, that's pretty darn tricky, but even with that, it is apparent that there is a great disconnect between the core fans of this franchise, at least some of them, and many reviewers. That's something to dive into. Plus, we've also seen what seems to be the game director's self-insert and mocap self-insert having a highly awkward sex scene, which is a bit weird. There's a trading card cameo that rates him as 60% brawn, 100% brains, and generally things that are pointing towards a severe ego problem infecting the game, so that's honestly quite uncomfortable. Plus then, there seems to be a significant policy problem from Sony, who have let this game away with doing things far beyond what they've censored many other games for actually doing on their storefront. Things that Nintendo, by the way, have been totally fine with. So yes, there's a lot to sift through here. If you're new, give us a sub for lots more gaming news content, and of course, give that like button a little smash to help us out with the YouTube bots. And with that said, let's get into the video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is talk about the general reception that won from players now that a bit more of the game has came out. Then there is also the weird stuff about Neil Druckmann, and I know that that might not seem like something that's relevant here, but unfortunately, I really do think it is, based on all the content that people have seen, and I think you'll understand why as you go through this video. And then also the issue of basically a bit of censorship and double standards within Sony's own practices in terms of what The Last of Us 2 has been able to get away with, but a number of other games, like the most recent Devil May Cry game, have not been able to get away with. So, very interesting stuff, and we'll kick it off with the reception. So, I think the number one thing, or the thing we're going to start off with, is player expectations and misleading trailers. So, the release date trailer shows the scene of Ellie having her mouth covered by somebody out of frame and asking, "What the hell are you doing here?" Now, in the trailer, it cuts to Joel saying, "You think I'd let you do this on your own?" But in the final version of things, it's actually a different character who says that because of reasons that are very apparent in the plot. And very much that's something we will be playing with player expectations. Now, the shot's basically of Joel and Ellie interacting where he seems older. They're essentially flashbacks, and a lot of people feel like those trailers were trying to show a lot more of the relationship between those two characters taking place in The Last of Us Part 2, when in reality, those things were flashbacks, and really there's not that much of that. So this is a case of people having expectations going into the game based off the first one, and also the marketing, and then being in a situation where the game is actually not meeting that expectation. Now, this is not the first time that Naughty Dog have been deceptive in trailers, even for this franchise. In The Last Last of Us 1, well, they had a scene made entirely for a trailer to make people think that Ellie would have to kill Joel. And on this, Neil Druckmann said, and this is the quote, "We purposely deceive players with certain trailers." Now, this is something that happens quite a bit in a lot of media, but I think it's just that sort of thing where you're playing with fire. I mean, take the Peter Parkers in Spider-Verse, that's one example. A little bit of that happening, but this is a very different example, I think, is playing people on a bit more of a fundamental level, which has led to that disappointment and people not really getting what they expected based on the marketing materials of the game. Now, there's another common complaint we saw where people are basically saying the game is barely focusing on the infected in that situation and is a lot more focused on, the human stuff, the human enemies, which I mean is perfectly fine, but for some people that was not what they expected. Personally, can't say it would bother me that much, but overall I would say that playing with expectations is dangerous, and I think that quite obviously has meant that a lot of people are calling this the video game version of The Last Jedi. And I think, what does that mean? Well, it fundamentally means just something that some core fans feel betrays their expectations, or some fans think that it's subversion for the sake of subversion, not really making good on it. And then, of course, the Metal Gear Solid 2 comparison is brought up quite a lot, because, I mean, yeah, people thought they were going to be playing Snake for the whole game. Nah, they got right in, and back then, that was a very, very major drama. So that's a few of the complaints that have went on. There are other ones that I think are extremely, just a bit of a problem, which I'll get onto, but overall, Metacritic scores have only just opened up this morning, and you're looking at about a 3.8 based on 4,000 plus ratings. That will fluctuate a hell of a lot. There definitely are review bombs there for the sake of it, of course, but there do seem to be a lot of genuine posts. There are people talking about gameplay mechanics, talking about characters, talking about the story, and a lot of what people are saying about the story seems to actually be quite close to some of the more critical reviews of the game. Those, of course, were reviews that were unscored from outlets such as Kotaku and Polygon, who generally were a bit more critical on the game. Now, what is interesting is a lot of people hating this game culturally. There's a bunch of trans and gay jokes from the chatters, which literally don't bear any weight here, that are number one, not actually true for the character of Abby, and I think there are a manifestation of people not being happy. I would say, though, that the chatters were not really the audience of The Last of Us Part 1. So I think they're jumping on this for some banter, right? Some memes, it's what they do, but I don't think they're the core audience of these games, and I think that really a lot of that angle is completely pointless and just a load of BS. And I think we need to be really careful here that those sort of, made-up criticisms that are mostly jokes, we need to be careful with those that actually mask out the genuine criticisms about the plot and the character motivations and the pacing. Because it seems like the people who really like The Last of Us Part 1 and were excited about going into this game, it seems like a lot of those people are not particularly thrilled at characterizations, the plot line, things like that. The actual criticisms of the game as is presented. But fundamentally, you're in a position where this is a game that a lot of people put a lot of weight into, right, in terms of the more official reviews that came out. And yes, there's now masses of memes referencing some of the more, funny scenes. There's one we'll get into in a bit, in a negative light. And it's a situation where The Last of Us 2 had all the eyeballs in the gaming world on it, and it's being made fun of. And in a lot of cases, and we'll get onto this with Neil Druckmann's seemingly rather insane ego situation, that, some of that is kind of warranted, it's kind of funny. Now, as for the actual user reviews and the issues that people seem to be experiencing, well, gameplay that is too similar to The Last of Us Part 1, right? A 7-year gap, an entire generation between them, and it doesn't feel like that much development has actually happened in terms of bringing the formula forward and doing more things. Now, people are saying the game looks gorgeous, it's animated gorgeously, and that definitely seems to be the case, but most people are saying that the writing is where they're struggling with it, that it's an insult to The Last of Us, and that it doesn't resonate with people, that it's basically a complete, just boilerplate revenge story that doesn't have much payoff. And for one point, somebody said it seems like the writers simply have no idea how to write properly, not just for shock value. It's Game of Thrones Season 8 all over again. There's a lot of people thinking that. There's a lot of people saying that violence makes violence, right? That the revenge and the cycles of violence is really the core theme of this story, but that there's never a moral choice for the player. So what's going to happen there, right? It's not really doing anything interesting with it. It's basically just sticking your face in it and saying, hey, look at this is really bad. Whereas perhaps perhaps a game that was giving you choice in your actions would fare better there. I mean, if you think about, like, say, the trolley problem, right? Where, you know, it's the idea of there's a train going down the tracks, you can divert the train, so the train's going down the tracks, it's going to hit and kill 5 people. You could divert the train onto another track where it only killed 1 person. That's the trolley problem. A lot of this seems to come down to, this is like a game trying to talk about the trolley problem to you, but it's just in a straight line, right? So you gotta kill 5 people no matter what happens, and the game's just saying, hey, look at this, it's bad. And then if I think about another linear game, right, like say the White Phosphorus scene in Spec Ops: The Line, well, you've got a situation there where your character, like, that makes sense, right, as a horrible thing that happens in a linear game that the game is showing you, because your character is doing what they think is kind of right there, and the outcome is something that is unexpected, and the entire point is about the unexpected consequences of actions and using weaponry such as White Phosphorus in an area that could be rather crowded with, you know, silly things in that particular game. Whereas with Last of Us 2, it's kind of less really going in that way. So that seems to be one of the angles of criticism. Now, the first game is one that was praised for its story and the heart and its characters, and it basically seems like the second one has failed in those regards for many of the core fans of the first game. And there is this big discrepancy between critic and user reviews. I think that's indicative of the schism between those two audiences. Now, I would recommend watching Alana Pierce's video on the 10 out of 10 IGN reviews, and basically what she's saying there is, look, it's not really a situation paid off reviews or things like that. She basically sort of was like, look, I think some of these reviews, it's these reviewers writing more from a high art perspective, writing to sort of impress their Twitter followers, and maybe not being focused on their core audience, right, who the review is actually for. And I've got to say, I would definitely agree with Alana on that. I think you should give that video a watch after this one. Now that we've covered that, I want to talk about the less comfortable bit, right? The kind of weird ego of Neil Druckmann. And that seems like a real unfortunate thing for me to be saying. It seems like I'm being unfair. But no, I mean, when we actually get into it, it's a bit wild. So, this is kind of covering why these bizarre mistakes may have been made, right? Druckmann's potential ego. So apparently there's the gratuitous and largely pointless sex scene between Abby and Manny, and to be honest, the sex scene itself is really, it's just kind of uncomfortable, like, I mean, just everything about it seems kind of wrong, okay, so I don't know what's going on there, but it's just very strange. And Manny is a character that people are claiming is Druckmann's self-insert. Now, the thing is, that character really does look like Druckmann, and, well, let's just say there's a core moment in the game that a lot of people who will love, will have loved the character from the first game will maybe have strong emotion towards, and let's just say that this sort of Druckmann self-insert seeming character kind of rubs the player's face in what just happened. So that's kind of what's up there. It just seems like a big ego move. Now, there's another thing here that betrays the ego, and that is there's a collectible card that you can actually find, right, in the game, and the character on this card is a fictional one called Dr. Uckman. And basically the character looks like Neil Druckmann, and Neil Druckmann has since updated his Twitter bio and his personal, his profile picture to be Dr. Uckman from the start of the game. So that literally is a self-insert cameo of Neil Druckmann. But if you actually look at the statistics of Dr. Uckman on this card, it claims that he's got 100% brain, 60% brawn, and is a villain. And you're like, right, okay, there's just a lot of ego things going on here that seem really bizarre. And then also, if you look at the Dr. Uckman trading card, what you see is that his faction is the New Dogs. Now, if you know anything about what's said to have been going on with Naughty Dog, well, basically, Amy Hennig and the whole way that studio is going isn't really a thing anymore. Amy Hennig, of course, left the company during Uncharted 4, so that Uncharted movie writer kind of talked about that as well. And yeah, you've got him saying the New Dogs, which is kind of saying, you know, the new school, right? Leader of the new school of Naughty Dog, which once again just does reinforce that ego angle. I mean, man, it certainly doesn't seem like the type of guy I'd want to work for, I can certainly say that. So basically the situation here is that, like, Druckmann seems to be writing this game for himself, for the sorts of people who are backing him up on Twitter, instead of, you know, writing it purely for the audience or trying to get a mixture of both. It feels very performative, very edgy for the sake of it, and it's claiming to have this message about cycles of violence and revenge that a lot of people are not really feeling like they're actually getting from the game. Now, it's also alleged, right, alleged, I say, that Druckmann was the reason why Amy Hennig left the company. It was over a myriad of disagreements. Now, for what it's worth, a writer who was on the Uncharted movie called Joe Carnahan called Neil, quote, a jerk-off, and, quote, hitchhiker who stole credit for Uncharted 4 from Amy. That's Amy Hennig. Now, this is just what this guy said. It is unsubstantiated, but I will say that it does fit a narrative that people are trying to push, and that sort of situation, right, where the shoe fits. So, whether that's true or not, it certainly is a perspective that I think will be spreading. So that's the Druckmann angle, right? You kind of look at the guy at the top and you think, well, has that actually trickled down to the rest of the game and maybe betrayed the excellent quality of work that was done by likely the vast majority of the Naughty Dog workforce. Then finally there's the angle of a bit of weird censorship going on, right, where basically anime titties aren't okay, but if it's a PS Boys game titties, it's okay. I know it sounds like a weird thing for me to say, but there's a bit of a double standard here. It's something not really covered in the channel that much, but essentially, right, DMCA5, it had this bit of censorship where a crack of the ass was covered by a very funny looking lens flare, and it was only in the PS4. Omega Labyrinth Z was blocked from release outside of Japan, despite PQ getting the all clear from the age rating bodies. There's then the whole Senran Kagura affair, where Burst Reveal was delayed to remove intimacy mode in the West. Senran Kagura 7 was even impossible to release due to platform holder policy changes. And I mean, look, it's Senran Kagura, like, come on, it is a bit wild sometimes, isn't it? But there is just this situation where there seems to be a very different standard that Sony are holding these, like, Japanese developers to when it comes to, like, sexualized content in their games, whereas then you look at The Last of Us Part 2 and you've got this pretty uncomfortable sort of
What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with Dark Outpost, and as people are getting through their playthroughs for The Last of Us Part 2, more and more people are realizing that this game is everything we said it would be, that it completely destroys the character of Joel, has an ending that literally nobody wants, and people absolutely hate what Naughty Dog has done. That is why Sony and Naughty Dog and Muso TNT tried to strike down channels just like mine, because we were telling you the truth all along. More and more people are coming over to the side of saying, F Naughty Dog. We're going to take a look at some of the reactions to this game, including PewDiePie, who's been someone who's tried to have a positive outlook. But a positive outlook isn't enough, because Naughty Dog delivered something that virtually nobody likes. Before we start the video, we are going to get into spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I would recommend not watching this video. But let's take a look at these scores. When I say no one likes it, I mean people that actually care about the game. Consumers, not critics. People who pay to play the game, not who are paid to play the game, like so many critics are. And we've gone through these. The scores continue to skyrocket. Now, we covered the article saying gamers are now review bombing The Last of Us Part 2. Of course, we all know that there are positive review bombs and negative review bombs. There are fake results in here for sure, but there's fake positive ones and fake negative ones. Overall, you just look at the reaction. People hate what they have done to this game. These are all the ones that are the most helpful. All negatives. Not a surprise at all.
But let's take a look. Like I said, I teased it early on. Let's look at PewDiePie's reaction to this. I think PewDiePie is like such an innocent reaction, I suppose. Ironically, let's take a look at PewDiePie.
This breaks my heart.
Please don't shoot. Jocelyn, please get up.
Of course, the guy that looks like Neil Druckmann spitting on Joel. Look at Felix. Look at PewDiePie. Devastating.
We haven't even got started. We barely played anything. I don't understand.
We barely got started. We barely played anything. I don't understand.
Oh my god, are they gonna fucking kill Ellie next? What the fuck is going on here?
We tried to tell you guys. We tried to warn you.
I got so many questions.
Ellie. I'm sorry.
Not anymore. What is happening?
I don't even want to play anymore. 2 hours into the game, they kill off Joel senselessly in a part that doesn't make any sense. We've covered this, how stupid it is, the way that he gets killed. PewDiePie's reaction is just like so many others. Angry Joe has just had reaction as well. Let's listen to Angry Joe.
Sam, you gotta take Joel out. I mean, you don't have to take Joel out, but if you're gonna take Joel out, there's certain ways to fucking do it. And this is not one.
I'll move over here.
And we're gonna play as Abby some more? Are you fucking kidding me? No, fuck Abby. This is exactly as I thought it was! This is exactly how they said it was gonna be! If you don't like the fucking story, and the fucking story is fucking stupid in the way that the fucking story happens, how then is it a fucking perfect game, a 10 out of 10? You like that? You like the way that went down? Oh, but Joe, look at the reaction it's getting from you. That's why Neil Druckmann did it.
Angry Joe, obviously a little different content creator than PewDiePie is, but let's take a look at someone else. Lol Tyler. I thought this was an excellent take by him in his reaction.
All the covers, literally a main character, a good guy, everything like that, and for have him go out like that. Like that. I thought you were dreaming at first, you're gonna wake up, maybe you still are there, but how to go out like that is so, I don't know, just pathetic. So I said, dude, he deserves so much better, actually. Like, to go out and, like, defending Ellie in, like, a gunfight or something. Not saving the person who's literally being stolen. And then dying in front of Ellie, and he sees Ellie in front of her. I get it, it's like, whoa, we're gonna be one-of-a-kind deaths here, guys. Let's do something absolutely fucking retarded real quick. Guys, get this, it's gonna be so edgy. We'll have a fucking 2 girls having sex and smoking weed, and then right after, let's kill Joel! Ship it! Let's go, boys! Like, it's insane! It's actually insane! That's literally what they thought! It's gonna be a banger! Like, it's...
That's the normal reaction. That is the normal person's reaction to this, because that is how so many people are reacting. People who are fans of this, people who are fans of the relationship between Joel and Ellie. But Neil Druckmann wanted to subvert those expectations. He even told us he was gonna do it.
thinking this one might be more divisive than the first game in a very kind of exciting way that I think it raises those interesting philosophical questions and asks the players to interpret some of the material that's there and see where they stand on those questions.
So I guess it shouldn't be a surprise. Here's a pretty good clip. I don't know the streamer's name. I can't read that. It's a Korean streamer. This was his reaction after he got done. Opens up the case, takes his disc out. Let's see. Can I bend this? Nope. Do I have scissors anywhere? Indeed, I do. Just cuts up the game. He's done with it. And that's the reaction a lot of people are having to this. That's what they want to do. And, you know, so many people out there are coming out and criticizing people who are being critical of this game. I talked about it a little bit before. You know, we have Shannon Woodward, who plays Dina. A lot of very upset bots afoot today. And then Laura Bailey, who is the actress who played Abby. Both of these people have since deleted their tweets after the blowback they got. Because guess what? It's not bots. It's real people who are upset about this. Real people are upset about the way Neil Druckmann and Naughty Dog have handled the characters that they love. That is why they're upset. And you see people like, IGN. Look, this IGN tweet, again, this editor at IGN, who is, again, this tweet has been deleted. Remember, when folk are upset at a sex scene in a piece of media because it's not made for their titillation, it's because they're a virgin and will sadly always be a virgin. These are the people, they hate the fact that people don't like this game. So they're going to call you a bot, they're going to call you an incel, it's going to be whatever they possibly can say to insult you because you don't like this game. Now, Neil Druckmann is out there trolling everybody. Oh man, just a few hours, we have almost double the number of user reviews for The Last of Us Part 2 than the first game received in 7 years. Love that passion. Of course, the passion he speaks of is everyone literally giving it a negative review because they have seen this game. They know what happens in this game. 13,871 negative reviews. And of course, Neil Druckmann still advertising The Last of Us 2 using Joel. Using Joel, the character that you massacred, that you disrespected, you used him to promote this game and killed him off in the first 2 hours. You are despicable, Neil Druckmann. Absolutely disgusting. But more and more people, like I said, are coming over to our side, are coming over and saying, you know what? You were right. This game was, I wanted to see it in context. I thought it would be better. I trusted Naughty Dog. You put your faith in the wrong people. Because so many people just hate this game. They hate what it does to the characters. They see it as The Last Jedi. They see it as Game of Thrones Season 8. Because it's a destruction of everything that they love. But let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. Box and my Patreon as well. I'll talk to you guys later. What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with Dark Hay Outpost, and everyone is still talking about the fallout from The Last of Us Part 2. Fans who were looking forward to this for 7 years are in absolute shock over what has happened. We tried to warn everyone. We tried to tell everyone. That's why we're saying F Naughty Dog.
She went that way. Yes, she did. I saw her do that. This guy doesn't move there. She could be hiding anywhere. There's no telling where she could be right now. You have to stay alert. I have no doubt you'll find her soon, though. revenge. You can't see the truth that's right in front of you. Too much revenge. Yeah! You'll find her soon, though. Ellie, your eyes are clouded by revenge. You can't see the truth that's right in front of you. There's too much revenge. It's clouding your vision. Like a Sith. Yeah!